people don't like to be common. Nobody likes to be common. People want to be rare. People want to be unique. And I was ruminating and I thought I would do another unscripted video on principles that I believe greatly accelerate a unique quality in an individual. And one of the big answers I came up with was vernacular, is the way you speak and the vocabulary you use in everyday common social interactions. Not just those, but, pardon me, on the internet, perhaps if you're a content creator, perhaps if you're making videos like this, I have a strong sensibility that not a significant, but certainly a part of the reasoning behind people choosing to invest in my brand, my business, clicking that subscribe button, is the kinds of words that I use. Because it's not free, by the way, clicking that subscribe button. I'm taking up some of your time. You watching this video right now, you're investing your time in this particular video, and hopefully you're going to get a return on that particular investment. And I promise that you will. So back to vernacular. The reasoning behind this is when you are mindful enough to recognize the kinds of language people are using in social situations, you're not surprised. Generally, you're not surprised. People have a very limited, basic, and common tongue. And whilst this may serve its purpose in terms of getting to a particular outcome as part of the conversation, you lose an opportunity in creating art, in creating a little bit of surprise, a little bit of whimsy. Whimsy is playfulness in the interaction, right? What's the point in speaking and having a conversation if you can't be playful? If you can't maybe learn something new? We all know the place we're getting to, but how can we make that journey more compelling, more interesting, more unique, more rare? Like, think about the way you describe certain things. Perhaps you get a new coat, right? So coming up to winter right now, you buy a new coat. And it's the first time you're wearing out your coat. You're going to the cinema with some friends. They notice your new coat and they say, "Hey, Joseph, that's a nice coat." I want to blow my brains out. Could you be more unoriginal? Could you... The sentiment behind which it proceeds is appreciated. It is. But once we recognize that we are typically that individual, and I'm guilty of this as well, by the way. I'm not sitting here on my ivory tower. It just occurred to me more recently, and I want to exercise more consciousness in the words I'm using in order to capture attention, to appeal as uncommon and rare, place myself and frame myself as a paragon of authority, an authority figure, somebody who's credible. When you think about people using particular words that are uncommon, are rare, maybe even words that you've never even heard before, one of the instant reflexes is it grabs your attention because it's uncommon. And by very definition, the uncommon has higher value to it, typically, especially in something like language, because it denotes only what would you say, an occult in the sense of only a small percentage of people understand the vocabulary and the language that you're using to get to a particular outcome. And when you understand that this individual is using a word, it's like an inside joke. Everybody wants to be part of the inside joke. When you're not in the inside joke, it kills you inside. You're like, "Oh, these guys are laughing at this inside joke. I wish I was part of that joke." Same thing when you're using language that only a select people know. Okay. And now I'm not saying this to the point where you're using language that nobody knows. Like there's real acute and particular words that very, very few people know, unless you're doing an English PhD, English literature, you're studying poetry and things like that, words that have been, lost hundreds of thousands of years ago. I'm saying you're using words to be playful, you're using words to create art, and again, get the outcomes of appearing more credible. And I want to lean on that particular outcome because this is the premise of this video is people want attention. Human beings want attention. They want to be considered valuable. They want to make more friends. They want to be seen as an authority. They want to have more sex. They want relationships. They want new experiences. And the vehicle, or I shouldn't say the whole vehicle, or part of the vehicle is moving into areas where you can be considered more rare. And I think one of the fundamental ways you can achieve that is improving your vocabulary, improving the amount of premium words you use in your lexicon. So I like the term premium words. It would be a journal, a Notion page, a Word document where you have come across words that you would really love to integrate into your vocabulary and into your speech. I think the challenge for many of us, and certainly for me, is when we come across a word that we want to introduce into our vocabulary, it's not enough to have it as a thought form. Your brain is for having ideas, it's not for storing ideas. That's why we need to have pen and paper analog or a Word document, a Notion document to write the word down, write the definition of the word down, and then most importantly, use that word in a sentence that might come up in a social context. And then even further is physically vocalize that sentence. For example, I have my vernacular book up here on the left-hand side. I've got the word paragon. So paragon means a person or a thing regarded of a particular quality. So I might want to use it in the sentence, you must strive to be a man that is a paragon of excellence, right? A model of excellence, a paragon of excellence. And I'm physically saying this. And the hopes are, not just the hopes, but the reasoning and the truth behind that practice is when you're vocalizing it, you're using your body, your tone, the pitch of your voice, and how you're projecting the word, how the word is landing, or the phrase or the particular sentence is landing. It creates a reference point in your neurochemistry for you to use in social sentences, which is far stronger than just thinking, oh, I've read this very interesting word that I would like to introduce into my vocabulary. I'm going to use it next time. It is not enough. There must be a process from thought form, from the intangible, ineffable thought form, right, which isn't palpably based in reality, to analog, pen and paper, into an example, into you vocalizing it. You must strive to be a paragon of excellence. And then what's interesting is when you're having a conversation, that reference point will come up and you can easily take the branch into the way you've always spoken, or you can take this new branch, right? You should always strive to be this paragon of excellence instead of model of excellence. And then someone will say, paragon, that's a cool word, interesting. I mean, maybe they might not vocalize it, but they'll certainly think. And they'll go, interesting. And then the more frequently you add new bits of vocabulary into your day-to-day speak, you'll recognize that people are starting to treat you with a different air. They're coming to speak to you. Your perception of intellectual prowess has elevated. People are now starting to come to you for advice. People are inviting you to social events because you're rare. It's not, look, Conversation, communication isn't about an outcome. It's about the journey towards that outcome. And that's the art in things. That's your opportunity. That's your agency, your independence to start creating art, being playful, being whimsical, adding a little bit of you, creating that X factor, being rare, being uncommon. And I promise you, just through this very small change that you make in your life, making notes of words that you would like to use, um, maybe even using a thesaurus. If there's a particular word that you find yourself using more frequent than others, it might be that you rely on a thesaurus and you try and find out a different word. I stopped using the word nice a long time ago. I use words like tremendous. That's a tremendous jacket, my friend. I use words like handsome. That's a very handsome hat you have there, my friend. Right? Same outcome, more playful, more unique, more compelling, more fun, right? And whenever you're giving somebody that kind of emotional reaction inside their body as a consequence of the conversation you're having, you make a lasting impression. You make that lasting impression. So I'm going to cut the video here, guys. I hope this was valuable. I hope it gives you something to meditate on and to take away, to add into your vernacular. Stop using the word nice. Otherwise, I'm going to blow my brains out. Speak soon.